Greetings, friends, and welcome to our Day 5 liturgy. I had hoped to record this live today down by the beach, which is just behind me. I'm here in Duxbury, Mass, and the beach seemed a perfect location to reflect on the emergence of sea creatures and birds. But unfortunately, it's a very rainy day, and the technology is not allowing me to go live. So I thought I would sit down here on the porch. Perhaps some bird song will visit us as we spend this time together. And hopefully all will be well as I upload this to debut this evening, April 19th. But we begin today with Day 5 on our journey through the creation. And let's start by looking at this passage from Genesis where Day 5 is described. So this is chapter 1, verses 20 through 23. And God said, "Let the water teem with living creatures, and let birds fly above the earth across the expanse of the sky." So God created the great creatures of the sea, and every living and moving thing with which the water teems, according to their kinds, and every winged bird according to its kind. And God saw that it was good. God blessed them and said, "Be fruitful, and increase in number, and fill the water in the seas, and let the birds increase on the earth." And there was evening, and there was morning, the fifth day. In the works of Emanuel Swedenborg, where he speaks about this passage, he writes that Day 5 is the day when we truly begin to live. Day 5 is when life that moves, that swims, that flies, begins to emerge in our inner life and in our outer life. You're probably feeling some resonance as we come into Day 5 with Day 2, the emergence of the sky and the sea, the separation of the waters. If you remember on Day 2, that's the stage of our development when we begin to perceive that we have both an inner life and then an outer life. An inner life where we are connected to the eternal, where we receive life and insight and wisdom from a divine source, the divine source that connects us all, and that we have an outer life, a material existence, embodied, temporal on the earth. Well, friends, Day 5 is the day when these two realms of our being and our experience begin to become animated and alive with the sea creatures and the birds. I wonder if you just take a second to close your eyes or sense into your body. If you notice some of that aliveness, some of the ways that this moving, living life might be beginning to emerge within you. The correspondence of the sea creatures and the birds are really quite incredible and beautiful. Swedenborg tells us that the sea creatures represent facts. Memory knowledges is another way that it is interpreted. And if we think about our outer selves, our bodies, our temporal, material bodies on the earth, many current thinkers about our bodies and the experiences of our bodies articulate that our bodies hold memories, right? That our bodies carry memories of all the experiences that we've ever had in our lifetime, and perhaps even experiences from our ancestors and lives before. That our bodies carry memory. And while Swedenborg doesn't use the word emotion to describe this knowledge, these facts, I would suggest that emotion is one of the ways that we experience this knowledge. Emotion is the movement and life within the body, the effects in some ways of these memories. And I would suggest to you that on day 5, as this life is beginning to move, part of that life is an awareness, a growing awareness of the experiences of our bodies, the truths that they contain, the wisdom that they have for us. When we come to day 5, we know that the sea, the outer life, the experience of ourselves on the earth is alive, that there's movement in it. And we honor that movement. We take time to feel our emotions and see what they have to tell us. We aren't suppressing them. We aren't bypassing them. We're in our bodies, and our bodies, the experience of our bodies, begins to come alive. And simultaneously, as our bodies come alive, the birds of the air begin to emerge in our inner experience. Our inner lives now also come alive. Our understandings of what is true begin to come into our consciousness more immediately, like the hawks and the starlings and the birds that fly around. Swedenborg also doesn't use, just like he doesn't use the word emotion to describe this, he doesn't use the word intuition. But I might suggest that intuition is a good word to think about this growing life in our inner selves. Now knowing comes to us immediately, unbidden, from our inner experience. And we're aware of it. Our inner life is not just an empty void. It's full of life, of birds coming to bring us wisdom and insight into our paths of life. So on day 5, we feel ourselves embodied in the world, aware of the life of our bodies, and also aware of the life of our spirits. And I would suggest that it's very important that these two be in balance. It'd be one thing if on day 5 the birds came and then day 6 the sea creatures came, but they both come on the same day. And that feels really significant when we think about our spiritual journey. And it's certainly true in my experience that to come into higher inner knowing, we have to also come into higher awareness of our outer experience, our embodied experience. That the two are deeply related and connected and need to be in balance as we go along this path. So day 5 is a big deal. As I started with, Swedenborg tells us day 5 is the day when we truly begin to live. And he speaks about that in relationship to the day that that just ended. Remember the emergence of the sun and the moon, the great lights, the emergence of this strong awareness that we are connected to life, that life is flowing through us, and that we are receivers of that life. And a beginning, the growing sense that we have that resource moving through us. We have that life moving through us. No longer are we just a separate being making our way for our own material ends. Now we understand ourselves to be a being connected to all that is, and with the resource of all that is, with the resource of the divine life moving through us, simultaneous with a deep respect and honoring for the particular unique embodiment of life that we are. A real willingness to take our own individual experience seriously, our aches and our pains, our feelings and our experience of this physical form. To trust that while we are connected to this divine source of life that is flowing through us, this divine inner realm with its many birds, its many insights, its many intuitions and knowings, that all of that divine life is coming through this particular unique earthly vessel. And that this earthly vessel holds memory that must be explored and taken seriously and become conscious of, that we might move through it and bring healing and new life into being, and not just be enslaved to the ways our bodies have been conditioned to function. Day 5 is a movement out of reactivity and into responsiveness. And very much a lot of that responsiveness, the meat, the information that empowers us to be responsive, comes from this new life. These beautiful birds, these varied and diverse sea creatures emerging within. And there's so much wisdom, there's so much guidance on this day as those new faculties come into view, as we become aware, grow in our consciousness of all the life that is contained within and that is guiding us forward. So I apologize that I wasn't able to film live from the beach. It would have been nice to see the ocean with you. But I hope that this message will speak to you, and I hope you might join us along this Day 5 journey, jumping into the many workshops that will be happening this month as we continue our journey through the 7 days, as we continue to come alive in the Spirit in all the ways that God is bringing life into being through each one of us. Many blessings, friends, on the journey.